Eichenwalde will make me #1 in no time. Eichenwalde is a recently added map to Overwatch, and it has been less than well received. It's a hybrid map, where you capture a point, take a card across the map, and win the game. The story that it links with is basically the storyline of Reinhardt and Bastion. Reinhardt used to be part of the Crusaders, a group that was present in Eichenwalde and was there in Eichenwalde, and Bastion was part of the army that destroyed the town and left it the way it is, with nobody ever being in there at all. But he was not part of that battle because all of them were kind of destroyed and left to rust. He was off somewhere else, as seen in the last Bastion. But basically, the story is the attacking team is going to raid the castle and take Balderich von Alder, the leader of the Crusaders, and take his decaying corpse and put it into a proper laying place. The reason why this map is very hated is for one reason and one reason only: choke points. There's 2 choke points that really put the balance off and put it more favored towards a defensive. And the first one is the very first choke point, and is the only way to get to the first point. This is a very small bridge that there are 2 doors on either side underneath the bridge, but the defensive team will be holding right there under it and on top. There's no way to get around it, there is no way to get through it unless you battle your way through and punch a hole into the defenses. The second place that is the choke point that is really terrible is whenever you capture the castle. Once the doors close after the point has been pushed through there are only 2 small hallways that you can get through to be able to get to that point. And a defensive team can cover both sides very easily. It's a little bit easier to get through there because it's not just one spot and you can kind of fake out. But it's still something that really puts the defensive on the upper hand. Let's talk about the first choke point. If you're on attack, the thing you can see the most whenever you are heading up to this point is more defensive classes. In a competitive game, they might throw out the offensive classes and have a 2 defense, 2 tank, or 2 healers. Maybe they'll throw out a tank or a healer and put another defense in. You'll most likely see a Junkrat, a Mei, a Bastion, a Hanzo, Reinhardt, and a Zarya. Maybe a Diva. But mostly these things are going to be the things you're going to be seeing and the things that are going to be stopping you from taking this point. There are 3 different ways you can go about taking this point. You can do one that is very common but very, very hard, and 2 that kind of trick a bit of what the defense might expect. So something that you can consider. First is the most common, which is plowing straight through them. And it's easier than said than done, because of course I said before that they are going to be heavy on the defensive, and there is a possibility if you have the right crew, a good amount of shields, good people that will defend, and good DPS, you can very much break through their line of defenses if they're not able to overcome your damage. If you want to use a defensive class to offensively push, like a Junkrat or a Mei, then you possibly can. It just depends on if they're going to be able to counter that or not. Another thing is just maybe tacking on the tank. Bunch more tanks and stuff. I'm not really sure if that'll work or not, but I think that's quite interesting. Somebody take that with just tanks. The second way is a ranged approach. There's a staircase directly right of the spawn point for the attackers. This would be a good place for Soldier 76s, a McCree, a Widowmaker, a Hanzo, even a Bastion maybe, a Junkrat, a Pharah, something that has a ranged ability to spam out the top parts of the defense that they have, or pick off certain things that won't be with the tanks and everything, or just more suppressing fire that you're out of range and don't have to be directly in their face to attack. The final way is very difficult and can be only utilized by 4 classes. One class can piggyback off of these, and another one can use a similar tactic, but it is not the same as the others. There is a building directly in front of the spawn point that you can jump over. And the 4 classes you can jump over are, of course, Junkrat, if you utilize the double jumping with the concussion grenades. It's very difficult. You have to land it perfectly. Farah, which is the easiest one of the easiest. You could just jump jet over it and even utilize the concussion blast thing to push yourself even farther. There is Diva, which can just fly directly over it. It's very, very simple. And there is Genji, which can utilize just jumping onto the wall, climbing it, and then double jumping anytime, and then using the Swift Strike to get over it. It's not that difficult. The only ones that are going to have problem is Junkrat, and I guess you probably wouldn't use this. And Mercy can piggyback off of this by maybe flying over with them, but I'm not really sure. I haven't tested it because I'm lonely. But you can use Winston to jump onto the bridge, and not directly in front. You can jump over that same roof, given over a different side of it. You're not cutting directly perpendicular, you're cutting across a corner. You stand at a certain place, you jump, and then you use the super jump, well, aiming in that specific spot, and you will jump straight over and right onto the bridge, where you can place down your shield and take out any defensive heroes single-handedly, almost. Some of them you might not be able to, but most likely you can do something where you can disrupt and the rest of your team can push through on the bottom. Here's a clip of me effectively using that Junkrat jump. The second choke point is fairly simple to break through. If your team is able to break through the first choke point, capture the point, and push the cart this far, you should be able to take it. Although there have been a ton of times where I've seen that the defensive team has been able to hold just because of that stupid door breaking down. It's weird that you break down the door, then it builds itself back up. It's strange. I don't know why they decided to do that, but some balance. But, balance towards the defensive side. But it's fairly easy to get past this one. There are 2 hallways, so you can go different directions with that one, and so you can send flankers on one side and send out your like tanks and stuff through the other to push through. But there is a window at the very top of the door that you can utilize many classes to do a bombing thing. There are many classes. There's Winston, Junkrat, Farah, Diva, Genji, Hanzo, and that's just to name a few of them. There's many different classes that have mobility abilities that can actually get up into that window and spam down into the hallway. In the end, the map is still in the queue, and you'll find it randomly. You can't help it. At this time, you can't choose which maps you want to play on. Eventually, they could add that, but as of now, it's not something that you can choose. So, learning how to fight this terribly defensive-sided map is something that you'll have to do, and using the stuff that I talked about might help in the long run. Maybe it won't help at all. It just depends on how well your team can coordinate to fight off and to win the game, if they can win. A lot of times it will happen in a tie, because it's so easy to defend on that map. So, thank you all so much for watching. This has been HR Prime. Thanks for your time. God bless, and happy gaming.